Hey, Mark.
Hi, Joey.
How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I am good. What are we doing today?
We're getting into episode 47.
Yes, we
And
are.
we're going to interview Roy and Amit Bhandari from TalkCondo.com.
That's right.
They are essentially have created the MLS for pre-construction.
They have, yeah. Probably one of the most useful websites if you are looking into the world of pre-construction.
Totally agree.
The amount of data that's on there, whether you're an end user, you're a realtor, developer, they have everything laid out so well.
Love it. They cover it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also a really good story. I didn't know that much into it. They've been developing this website since roughly 2010.
Yeah.
And it's come a long way to, like we said, pretty much be the premier source for pre-construction in Toronto.
1,000,000%.
All right, let's get into it.
All right. Welcome to the Toronto Livings Podcast, a conversation about all things Toronto with a focus on real estate, the culture, and of course, the food.
I'm Mark Savell.
And I'm Joey Virgilio.
And we're realtors with Sage Real Estate working together as a Toronto Livings team with a focus on helping you buy better, sell higher, and of course, having a little bit of fun along the way.
Welcome to episode 47.
47 is here. This is the first timer to this time.
It's historic.
It's
We have
historic.
a historic episode
We got
today.
4 people in the same room.
It's like a battle royale.
Yeah.
But with friends.
Yeah.
So we don't battle.
Yes. Yeah.
We have the dynamic duo, Roy and Amit Bhandari from TalkCondo.com. Not to be confused with Talk Condos.
Yes.
Completely different theme. Not going down that road today. We've known each other for a while.
A long time, yeah.
2010 is how we kind of got this show on the road.
Right.
And it's a kind of, not ironic, what's the right word to put? Symbolic?
Funny.
Interesting, yeah, all the above. I was on a trip in Italy with my parents. We were touring all of the boot, as they say it. And there was this young gentleman with his girlfriend on the bus, and we hit it off because we were kind of the only young people on the bus. It was all old people. And they were saying, we're thinking about buying a place soon. I'm like, I can help you. I'm in real estate. And they're like, well, actually, we got 2 brothers that are in real estate. I spent a solid week trying to convince him not to. I said, you don't want to work with family. You should be an outsider. Needless to say, it didn't work. But what I lost in business, I gained in 2 good friends. We've kind of remained close over the years. I kind of came back from Italy. I'm like, I'm going to sell Treviso. Lo and behold, what that turned into 25 deals later. And you guys were killing it at that time too.
Yeah.
So let's maybe get into it with a little bit of intro. Tell us about your journey in real estate. Where you started.
Sure. We started real estate in 2007. I actually got my license while I was still in university.
Who got it first?
I got it first.
Okay.
We tripped into real estate. It was I had no expectation of doing anything in real estate. The reason I got my license in the first place was that my dad was doing some buying and selling, and he tried 3 times to pass phase 1. He just couldn't do it. He just doesn't have the book smarts to do it. And then I was in second year of university, and I said to him, look, if you need the access, I'll just do the tests, get the license, and then you can get the access through me. Second year, between second and third year, I did the tests. I got 1, 2, and 3 done. And then I got my license, and then once it came out, I came out of university, I was like, I've got this license, I may as well just give it a shot. And that's really how it started. And then at the time you were...
IBM.
Working at IBM.
Corporate world.
Yeah.
What were you studying at that time?
Marketing. I have a degree in marketing.
And you graduated? I thought you were going to pull it out of your pocket.
No.
Here's my degree.
And what were you studying?
I studied IT management.
Okay.
And then I worked for the corporate world for about 1.5 years.
Okay.
Hated it.
Nice.
Oh, I don't know how people have the patience for it. I didn't, obviously. He got his license. I thought, okay, I'll get my license. And funnily enough, when we were little, those like childish dreams?
Yeah.
We're going to do something.
Yeah.
Funny story. So there's 3 of us, Amit, Roy, Raj. Remember this? Aurora?
Yeah.
Our company name was going to be Aurora Incorporated.
Nice. What were you going to sell?
Doesn't matter.
You just wanted a company.
Yeah, we just wanted a company.
Yeah.
So I just had enough. And he got his license, I got my license. Okay, let's do this thing. Let's do it.
And resale was where you started?
Resale, we didn't really have... I wouldn't say we had a start in any specific thing because when you say resale has so many different mini segments, right? Mm-hmm. You can do rentals, you can do condos, you can do houses. So we were just doing anything and everything. I even did a commercial deal.
Wow.
Which was
risky
hell.
business, yeah.
Hell. That took a long time to complete. So we were just everywhere. We were just doing anything and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, primarily the
Residential,
yeah.
umbrella of residential.
Residential, yeah.
I hated it. I hated it.
we
Those
did not
first two. I mean, first 2 years when you start real estate is always terrible.
A grind, yeah.
But
We also got hit with 2008 too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2008.
There was that.
But I mean, before we started selling condos, I remember we both walked into our manager's office at the time,
Yeah.
and said, "We're done. Here's my license. I hate this."
Wow.
That was
I had interviewed.
He'd interviewed,
Started
yeah.
interviewing.
Oh gosh.
yeah. So this would have been like
2009.
late 2009, early 2010, like a few months before we did our first pre-con deal,
Okay.
and we were really ready to throw in the towel. And then again, we got lucky. We were in the right place at the right time. And
Well, even before that, I don't know if you remember before that. So we were, again, because everything was everywhere, we had no direction or anything. I had just done the phase 3 commercial, and I really loved the professor. Remember when we sat down with him? We went to visit him. We sat down in his living room, and I was trying to convince him, let's do commercial instead of residential, because we're very, I don't know, it's residential. We felt it was too. And we loved the numbers, and so we sat down with him. We were unsure. We met with Remax. We were at Royal LePage at that time. We met with Remax, and then we met with another independent small company called GMAC.
Okay.
I
I remember these business cards.
the GMAC ones, and when we joined them, we were like, maybe there's something still in it. And then
That was with Nelson.
that was with Nelson.
Yeah. Who's now, his company's now Better Home and Garden?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's kind of where you entered my lives. Or
Yes.
I-
Yeah.
That phase. So had you done pre-con at that point?
No, so we joined Nelson's office, I think, in 2000. No,
I thought it was 9.
think it was
Sometime in
9.
2009.
We were there for a year, and we really tried to continue with resale and build that business.
Yeah.
And it was Nelson that we sat down with and said, look, we're done with this.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was the guy you were
He was the
gonna-
guy.
Nelson was a huge influence.
Yeah.
Good.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Huge.
so the light bulb went off at that
No,
point.
so the light bulb didn't go off that yet.
Okay.
So where the light bulb for us really switched was we knew resale wasn't quite right for us based on that sort of more emotional buying decision. What happened was, and it came back down to my younger brother again. So his girlfriend, who is now his wife, their parents had bought 2 condos pre-construction, and it was now being completed over at 21 Nelson, the boutique building.
Funnily enough, Nelson.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of connections you guys
Yeah,
have said
it's-
already. We'll get into it at the end. I think there's a nice summary to be said here, but go on.
And they were flipping them, they were signing them, and then they gave us the listings, we sold them, and then it was that was. Before then, I never set foot in Toronto. This was like we were learning as we were going. We were doing this, we were figuring it out as we were going.
You know, and the other thing that we were doing, which was, I think we were one of the first, was we were hitting Kijiji. Do you remember the Kijiji time? Yeah.
I definitely copied that strategy. I also remember Roy texting me questions about Toronto.
That was it. We were learning as we were going.
And you were like he was upfront, but he's like, I know nothing about Toronto. What's this intersection like?
Yeah. We were.
And you're still making money? This is amazing.
But anyway,
We're very honest in what we don't know.
Yeah, I would say
We're
that.
like, we don't know it. Nope, sorry, we don't
Ask
know.
for the help and get the clarity on it. So
we sold those, and then once they sold them, they wanted to reinvest. And this is really where what we do now?
Spark.
They wanted to buy pre-con, and at that point, we didn't know anything.
There was my colleague. Remember the colleague from IBM?
He's the one who put us on DNA.
So it's just so bizarre with how this. It was just. I want to say it was the right time, the right place at the right time, but it's just all chance.
yeah.
So the other thing that I want to go back to with Nelson was one of the things that he was really hammering at that time was, don't consider yourself as realtors, you are business people. Right? That's a big fundamental mind shift. You're not transactional, you're building a business. So that was another thing that happened. Then this happened. My colleague from IBM said, I'm really interested in buying a new condo. Do you know anything about DNA3? I had no idea. No idea. I don't even know what led to what, to us appearing on that Friday.
Yeah, the event.
I remember there was this really big. It was in the sales center.
Yes,
It was
yeah.
at the sales center, and we had to get the tickets, the numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
They did a raffle. It was a Riz Classic where
We were 12 or 13th in the
no, we
line.
were
or
81.
Oh, was it? I don't remember.
I still have the card.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I still have the card. It's in my office.
But that weekend, and actually even leading up to that, and I have to talk about this too, at that point, because everything was just all over the place. Our parents were running a restaurant, and that week they went away on vacation, and the restaurant wasn't in the actual space. It was getting done up.
Okay.
They were renovating. And so we were in a makeshift room. I don't know if you can remember the Friday. Something happened to him where he got like shooting pain in his head. I never forget this.
Yeah.
I said, you need to go home. Because we've got tomorrow. Tomorrow is happening. We're 81st in line or whatever it is. And there's this condo thing. We don't know what we're doing. Just go home. I'll lock up the restaurant. I'll take care of everything. And so there was all that happening too.
Nice.
It was a crazy time with how we ended up that weekend.
Yeah.
What led to that weekend?
That weekend we did
20 deals?
Yeah,
15 deals? Something
yeah.
like that. It was,
So your first foray into pre-construction, you smashed 20 deals.
yeah. So
but the other thing is...
more deals than we'd done in the previous 2 years combined. Like
Of resale and everything.
Everything.
Yeah, and that's something else I really need to touch on as well, because I think it's an important thing for like audience, especially if they're newbie agents.
Sure.
The other thing is leading up to that, we're taking care of the restaurant, delivering food, doing all that jazz, but we're also hounding the phones.
Okay.
We're telling as many people as we know. There was this one guy, the fireplace guy.
Yeah.
We were calling everybody.
Yeah.
We're like, you need to.
Wait,
you
the
need
fireplace
to.
guy's like a friend of yours?
No, he sells fireplaces.
Oh, so you just met him through...
We just met him. We got a fireplace, and we were calling anybody and everybody. We're doing this. You need to get on this. You need to get on this. It's whatever it is. It's this opportunity and blah 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 blah. The other thing that I want to touch on was I don't know if it was 2008 or 2009. Between the two of us, we only grossed $30,000.
Wow.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
It was not a good time.
Wow.
We were just so low. We don't know what we were doing. We were
Trying to
helping
figure it
parents-
out.
Yeah, parents in the restaurant and
So that one move put it, and then it was that was the light bulb.
That
moment
was,
of
yeah.
Like, okay, we're gonna pivot.
Overnight, we basically said, from that day, I've never done a resale deal. Even when I bought my own house, I had other people do the paperwork for me. We had 2 clients left that we were still working with.
Yeah.
Amit finished them off. Whoops. Amit finished them off. I never looked at resale ever again.
That's incredible. I didn't know that depth of...
No, never.
even if it's a
and
multi-million-dollar deal, we'll refer it.
refer out. And
Wow.
and there was a lot of people at that time saying, you're doing the wrong thing. You're doing the wrong
Sure.
thing. You got to still keep feeding this beast as well.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, this is the one. This feels right.
And I could see why people would say that, because at the time, pre-con wasn't as it is now. It wasn't as built around.
It's very different. Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a big agent community even selling them. I mean, clearly there was at least 81 people in your lineup that day, but that's peanuts compared to what some of the other launches, I think of like
Yeah.
X1 and X2 of like,
10x, yeah.
no, like literally the condo.
Yeah,
X1,
oh, yeah,
yeah.
Where there was like 20,000 agents fighting on the streets.
Yeah.
I was in that. Like,
Yeah.
at that time, it was such a unique thing, and I could see where the risk would be there. Like, I was of a similar mindset.
Yeah.
I definitely made sure I did my resales because I was like, I can't sustain purely on pre-con.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that's 2010-ish.
Yeah. And that's around the time we started to get connected. Twitter was a big part of it.
Yep.
There was the real estate gang. There was you,
Matthew
Slutsky, Rate Hub.
Yep.
And we also grew together. Like at 2010, we were all new.
Yeah.
Right. And we also grew together. And
Actually, fun fact that ties last week's episode nicely. Lorena was on the show.
Yeah.
She would have been working at the sales center with Erica, her
No way.
business partner. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Erica was there. Yeah, I remember
Erica and Lorena
Erica was
worked
there,
for Riz.
DNA. Yeah,
Yeah.
They were at the
I
prototype.
didn't know Lorena was there, but
Yeah, I
I knew
didn't
Eric
know.
was there and Shannon was there.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Funny how all this stuff. So we were talking about this. You were away when we were talking about this, but just to recap, how you guys all met, because I keep hearing Twitter come up,
Yeah.
and I keep asking everybody, did you all meet through Twitter? Because it seems like everybody has met through Twitter back in the day.
Definitely. Were you big on Twitter? Yeah, me and Roy definitely communicated more through
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah.
We're more, me and Amit are more DM Instagrammers.
Yeah.
That's our preference.
A couple of memes back and forth.
Yeah. Usually around watches and
Yeah.
such. But, Twitter was where a lot of us.
Yeah, gotcha.
yeah.
And the events like Buzz Cottage events.
That obviously, I mean, Matt was amazing at sort of bringing that group together, taking it offline and bringing it online. He held a lot of early events and brought the Twitter group together.
Yeah, so let me just fill that in for a second, because what Matthew had was a website called Buzz Home.
Right.
And at the time, as pre-con was just starting to grow, I guess you could say, in popularity, his website was kind of the source you would go to figure out if a new project was launching.
Yeah.
And he would have a great community. He'd had a forum. You guys were active on the forum.
Yeah,
right
forums,
away,
yeah.
where you could kind of chat further. And there was another website like Urban Toronto, which still exists.
Still exists, yeah.
But he was kind of cornering that pre-con market, which ties nicely into their overall story.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we break into? I mean, should we explain what Talk Condo is? Let's explain to the audience what you guys do in general.
Take that.
So wait, when does the website get established? Yeah, I guess that's
Yeah,
that's-
2010.
Yeah, so
2010, first version.
Yeah, okay. So I mean, so we did our first DNA deals in May of 2010.
Okay.
TalkCondo.com launched January 1st, 2011.
Okay.
So there was a 6-month period there where, again, we were just building everything. We always knew we were going to be an online thing. Like our lead gen was always going to be online. But it took 6 months to basically build the foundation. So TalkCondo.com launched January the 1st, 2011, but it picked up pretty quick. It was at a time when that kind of website was...
Blogs were a thing.
It was possible to do that.
Yeah.
I think starting it now would be a different animal. But in 2011 was when we started it. And when we started it, it was a completely different thing than it is today. It was a blog, very similar to sort of what you used to do.
Yeah.
And that's where the Talk Condo name came from. The idea was we were blogging about condos. We wanted to do a podcast. It never happened. We made videos around condos, and that's really where that started.
So we got some hats.
Yeah, 100%.
I
This
feel
is
like
the time.
we should rock our talk, because now we're getting to the Talk Condo establishment.
Yeah.
So this is 2011. 2012, I think Roy and I make a sweet little bet about who would win in a soccer
no.
game.
Oh,
And I feel like it's getting a little hot.
Oh, no.
I just lost my phone.
That's not got Balotelli on the back, does it?
I lost my mic. Yeah, so I'm just gonna take my jacket off. You just hold my.
Oh, I got you.
Just randomly decided to wear it today. So side story, me and Roy always have these fun banters about who's going to win soccer tournaments, and I'm on a pretty good streak. I think you guys won one game over us, a qualifying
Yeah,
game.
and you never heard the end of it.
No, I did not. So we've got our Talk Condo hats on, and we're 2012.
Yeah.
What happens?
On the bet or on Talk Condo?
Yeah, you can talk about the bet.
Okay, so 2011 we launched. 2011 was a pretty good year for us. We're getting a lot of leads. 2011 is really where we started to learn about like the hard knocks of pre-con.
Okay.
We started to learn a lot more about how the allocations work, how you can have all the clients in the world, but without the developer relations, having that side of the business figured out, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter how good your marketing is. If you can't get the units and you can't get the clients in, then it's all for nothing.
You almost have to prove yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, so we took a lot of beatings early on where we had the clients, couldn't get the units. And we're like, what the heck's going on here? And then we started to figure that piece out. And then we had to start really spending a lot of time on that side and learning about the marketing companies and the builders. So there was a build up time there as well. We got connected to some guys like Ryan and Jolly. They were really helpful to us in helping us understand that and building that network as well. So then that side of the business again took another. I mean, that's an ongoing thing. We're still doing that to this day.
Yeah.
Right.
But that took some time. And then 2011 was just about putting the two together, the leads and the builder relationships.
And the website at that time is purely just information. You're pretty much just talking. It's not really stats driven.
It's more forum based and
Yeah,
conversation?
no. So our early sort
There
of
was some stuff that
Yeah.
we did. We used to do a lot of, and this was something another. I hate to bring it up, but it is what it is. We were also one of the first agents, teams, or whatever, to actually do that deep dive into the numbers and analyzing and comparing and contrasting different projects.
Yeah.
And so there was a bit of that because it was blog based. So he would do a lot of write up. I would do a lot of write ups, and then we'd post about the projects, and then we'd get the form at the bottom. People would submit whatever their information. So that's how it grew from there. We were very the numbers guys from the get go.
And we had sort of a little bit of a database.
Even in resale, by the way.
Yeah.
We used to do the same thing in resale.
Yeah.
Take the number approach.
Yeah.
We would do the blog side, but we'd also start a little bit on sort of the databasing side. So we would start to add, the Bisha condos and Bond condos, and they'd have their own pages.
Wow.
And I'd have this little notebook where I'm taking notes. Bisha, it's lifetime developments. It's
Like offline, you're writing in a
Oh
book.
yeah, everything.
Yeah.
This I had a book this thick of
Nice.
all these projects. As soon as I see a project, it's going in the book, and then it goes onto the website. So then around then is where we started to do a little bit more of a hybrid sort of blog, and starting to build up that database of projects. And then that's been in sort of the next 4 or 5 years of Talk Condo was that. In about 2014, we got connected to an amazing web developer. And we're still using that same web developer today. So the guys who built I call it version 7 of Talk Condo now. The guys who built that version of Talk Condo were really helpful in us sort of really starting to say, okay, it used to be a WordPress blog, but they gave us the confidence to say, whatever you can think, we can build.
Amazing.
And then we could just start saying, okay, this is sort of the end goal of what we want, and then start putting those building blocks to get there.
I remember coming to your house one time and you had a sketchbook. You were drawing out what the look of the website would be. You'd have like these squares, and it was like,
I'm still the designer. I still do all the design.
He's the designer. Everything that you see on the website, from the buttons to the specific fonts, it's all him.
through Roy. So the marketing element of your
Yeah.
The design, all that jazz, logos, all him. And I'm so proud to say that.
And the IBM stuff, has that applied to any part of your Talk Condo?
The only thing I would say that it's applied is I do not want to go back to it. That's it. So it's and that's the reality, because I don't want to do that 9 to 5 thing. I need, just the way my brain is, I need that my own thing to mesh and mold.
Yeah.
I think between us, we always knew that whatever we did, it doesn't matter whether we were selling real estate or t-shirts, it doesn't matter. Our approach would have been basically the same. It was build a great website and use that as a converting tool. So going back again to the restaurant, this was 2006.
Oh, gosh,
we were way ahead of like the time, but we built for my dad a online like ordering tool.
Ordering tool.
Oh,
We never talked about
Yeah.
this.
So that was my sort of first sort of foray into website
design,
management.
right.
web
my
design
idea,
and-
though. My idea.
But it was
we
a
need to do
front
this. We need to do this.
So it was a front end because a lot of the business was catering, office catering. So we built the front end, we built the back end so they could do their invoicing and
We're
logging
again
system.
one of the first
Yeah. So
in Canada.
Crazy.
Pro.
it doesn't matter what we're selling, whether it's ham sandwiches or condos. Like our approach has been the same. So it's been, but this one has obviously been able to take it to
another level.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Aurora vibes are coming through in the story. Like you guys always had that drive to have this business, and I love it that, like you said, it could be t-shirts, it could be condos. It's still the systematic approach that you've taken
100%.
to get us there. So I feel like there's a big jump here because you go from this WordPress blog, now you're getting into more very specific condo analysis. And what I liked about your websites throughout the years is you always had very up-to-date and accurate data.
Yeah.
Because Joy, you had a point about, you want to share your story about your foray into pre-con?
Oh, it was awful. Yeah, the first time I had an agent, a client reach out and say, "Hey, can you look into pre-con for me?" I was like, "Okay, yeah, no problem." I start looking. I'm starting to go through the MLS and like maybe there's a link I can find. And I realized so quickly how archaic the whole thing was and how awful it is. If somebody wants to just give me like a series of things in the neighborhood, the steps you have to go through, and this is obviously before I knew about Talk Condo, but the steps you have to go through just to get give your client like a good sense of what they could be in for, and price points and all that stuff. It's insane.
Yeah, so to map that, what that looks like from a resale standpoint, clients interested, we Google a project, then we have to open up a Microsoft Word or spreadsheet and start summarizing all of these little things that we find, hoping that we're getting the accurate information.
Right.
Now, you do all that, the client says, we actually like it, we're going to go forward. We don't have access.
Yeah, yeah.
Or this project sold out 3 months ago. And all that's left are units that they have no interest in.
Yeah.
So quite the process.
Yeah.
And this is a pain point that I think you guys handled really, really well. You solved that.
Yeah, that's the thing that was in pain. Like, okay, design of the website is amazing. You guys do such a good job at organizing the data, and also, if I may mention, for those that don't know, Talk Condo has a map search tool, which is so painfully easy. Like, I don't know how nobody's done it other than you guys, because it is so painfully easy to use. So I guess maybe we should address some of the things that you guys. So what are the problems that solve? So this has been a problem in the pre-con world, and Talk Condo has come in to kind of save a lot of people from this
Resale
mess.
agents in specific.
Resale agents.
From the
That's really
stresses we
good to
deal
hear.
with.
And again, I think if we start and say, what was the end goal? The end goal is always, we wanted to be the MLS for pre-construction.
Right.
It doesn't exist. I cannot imagine you guys as resale agents doing resale without an MLS. If you go to Europe, London, like this is how it exists.
Yeah.
The way we're doing pre-con in Toronto is how resale agents do resale in
Europe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You want information on a house, you got to go to 10 different
Brokerages.
and get the information and put it all together.
Right.
That's how we're doing it, and that's how we've done it for a very long time. So because there's no direct feed for information from builders, the information has to be manually collected. So first we had to solve that problem.
Which is a huge problem.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
huge
very curious how you solve this. I mean, share what you can.
No, I
It's
mean,
like a
we
trade
have an
secret.
amazing team.
Okay.
So there was a big flip for us. I think it was, I want to say 2017. Because up until 2017, it was Amit and Roy doing everything. Every word on the website was written by Amit and Roy.
Nice.
In 2017, we hired our first person. Like, this is too much information for me to upkeep. And I used to have you have a spreadsheet. And every time I see an update, I would add it to the spreadsheet. And then I would, from the spreadsheet, add it to the website.
Right.
It just got to the point where this spreadsheet now is 100 lines
Cells
long.
yeah.
And I haven't updated the website. And it's taken me 4 days to sit and do nothing except update the website.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was like, no, this is not good enough. We started hiring. The first person that we hired, after 2 days, they were so much better at doing the thing than I ever was. Like, their attention to the detail was way better. There was way less mistakes. They're saying, you should have done this way, you should have did this way. And we're like, that was a quick light bulb for us, that if I want to grow this, we have to
You need to reach out and get help.
we got to get people who are better than me at this stuff.
Yeah.
So we hired the data team. The data team started there, and really we grew it from there. Then it was me phoning everybody to, can you get the latest prices? Can I get the latest prices? We hired that all out. So now we're at the point.
Sorry, you'd physically call these offices?
You have to. That was the only way. How else are you getting the
I
information?
don't know.
Email, call, this, that.
Holy crow.
The whether it's by design or just the way it is, the pre-con industry is a black hole of information, and it's. I think it's designed like that for a certain it's almost part of the gig,
Part of the process.
But yeah, if there's 500 active projects, we're calling 500 projects and getting the information.
Well, just the other day, we got a report from the data team. They had updated how many? 103
projects over the weekend.
And these aren't like stuff that everybody knows about. There's a ton in there that are just in completely random places.
Yeah,
But we're updating them because we need to update them.
Yeah, so the reason
We're
we
obsessed
started,
with
It's incredible.
the reason we started, number one, Talk Condo was our main lead gen tool, so it was important for it to be updated. Number two is that we used to get calls like you got. I'm interested in a 2-bedroom in Yorkville. And we would have to go through that process before. It would be, okay, number one, let's figure out who's selling in Yorkville. It's this project, this project, this project. And then I got to figure out who's selling it. Then I got to call them. And I got to wait a day, 2, 3 before they get back to me.
Yeah.
Then I got to figure out, okay, which of these have good 2 bedrooms. And then I got to put that email together. and send it out.
Calculate the PSF.
All this stuff, right?
That.
So from the time somebody calls me and says, I'm looking for a 2-bedroom in Yorkville, for me to actually get back to them with some 2 bedrooms in Yorkville, it could be 5 days.
Yeah.
And if we all work online, 5 days is,
An
might as well be
eternity.
2 years.
Yeah.
They've gone out somewhere else. It's long gone. So what we started doing was, instead of being reactive to these questions, we started being proactive. Let's just get everything in-house, get all the files here, so that when somebody calls us, because we're getting these kinds of questions all the time.
Right.
Just have the information, and maybe 95% of it isn't used, but the 5% that is used, we have it, we can respond quickly, we can get on with the actual working with the client.
Yeah.
So that's what the origin was. And then all that stuff, we just kept feeding it into the website, and then we built the first version of the map in 2015, and it's just been iterated over time and over time and over time. I'm obsessed with organized data. So having that sort of set up and having the data luckily organized from day one, it's made it really, really easy to build on top of that.
Naming conventions.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of that stuff.
Well, Well, you can go to your website and even put in a developer's name and a city, an intersection, and you're going to get a result.
Yeah.
around
Neighborhood.
which makes our job, but also the public interested in this information.
I was going to say too, because this is also for those that don't know, this is for the public. This is a free. You can go on go on your website and just if you want to get an idea, you can do it yourself as well.
That's a very good point that maybe we missed. Is that the whole concept of this is it's a public-based website. People can go to access the information, and these two guys are the ones who can then get you into the condo to do the deal.
Yeah. So Talk Condo is like I said, the easiest way to think about it is the MLS for pre-construction.
Yep.
You can go on, you can search for. It's a complete database of condos. So who is the developer? Where is the location? What are the maintenance fees? How much is a parking spot cost?
Yep.
What is the current availability? Mm-hmm. What is the price of this unit? Can I get you can now get all the brochures, all the floor plans, all the PDFs, incentives, everything that the builder provides.
Yeah.
That until 6 weeks ago when we launched this thing was really, really, really difficult to get for just one project. And now you can get it for 600 projects.
And compare them.
Compare them.
Yeah.
Which is a big pain point because it's so impossible to do that prior to you guys launching this version of the website.
100%. Even just going like price per square foot and just quickly seeing like where are you at price per square foot? Is this even worth me looking at?
So back in the day when I used to dabble in pre-con, I would see these guys at a launch and it was such a weird way of launching projects. They'd give you the price sheet at one time. You wouldn't get it in advance. And we'd all run with a pen and paper and try to scribble down the price per square foot. And then we'd figure out which one was the best value for clients and then have to run back to them and be like, this is the one to buy, hoping I can do it before the next guy.
That's how it was.
And then we're only talking 10 years ago, wasn't it?
That's not that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago, but that was the way of doing it.
COVID was a big game changer for how stuff got digitized. Even up until COVID, we were doing everything by hand. Even APSs were still by hand. But COVID forced a lot of stuff to go digital. And then it really took off like a rocket in terms of that stuff that you're talking about to change.
The dynamics of it. So we're now at TalkCondo Pro.
Yes.
And this is your latest version of that.
Yeah.
Was that spurred on through COVID, or this is just one of your goals to move it
one
along?
of our goals.
Yeah.
I think when we think back, I think every step that we've taken, and at least from my perspective, in the back of my head, it's always been because I have the IT education, and he's got the marketing, and I think it's been a really good mesh, really good working together with both sets of skills. One of the things that I've always wanted to do, I don't know in where, back then, was always get into sort of like the tech space. I want to get into the tech space in some way, shape, or form. And I think whatever we did from there, we can say it was by accident, but I think it was also very deliberate.
Yeah, intentional.
What we did, what we wanted to do, what was... Now, if we were to rewind and say, oh, in 10 years' time, we'll have this monster website. No, I don't think so. But I think this, at least the steps that we took would have led to us being here anyway. I don't know the length of time, but I think it was very deliberate what we did.
Yeah, I think over the last couple of years, we really started to realize that the data that we had really is best in class.
And incredibly valuable.
Yes.
And that's the thing. And we're also being reached out by industry people.
Yeah.
Within the pre-con space.
We would go to events and the builders would tell us, the marketing companies would tell us, the other agents would tell us.
We use your website.
We use your website now to get all the latest information.
That's amazing, yeah. And that's how you become the hub that people go to give information to make sure it gets to the public too, even as...
And what was happening was that we knew that we were only displaying half of what we had.
Oh, not even half.
All the good stuff we were sort of keeping for ourselves,
like
or not.
1/10.
Yeah, like all the good stuff, all the... The PDFs were not available. You had to still register to get the PDFs.
Right.
The price history was not available. All this stuff was being collected. Like we've still got information being collected now that we're not displaying on the front end for future updates. But we just started collecting all this stuff, and we would use the information on the back end, like an ugly version of what we see now. But we would use that. It would be really valuable to us. But it was then that we were like, we're sitting on a ton of
information.
Not even just a goldmine, but just an amazing amount of information that is valuable to a lot of people. And that's where TalkCondo Pro really came about, where there's a ton of information here for industry people that if we find it useful every single day, these guys are going to find it useful as well.
Who made the push on that? Was it a collective?
I think
it was collective. It was a collective. Yeah. I mean, we're 2 years in active development for TalkCondo Pro now, so we started it in sort of again, COVID would have been a big part of that. Active development started in 2021, took 2 years to get what we see today.
Right.
So yeah, it would have been a collective on the same page.
So, okay, sorry, to rewind a little bit. To my understanding, just so I can get clarification, from my understanding, there's still developers reach out to you guys, and you guys also reach out to new projects to make sure that you're as up to date as possible. What's the time lapse between that process of like some new update or a new project hitting that gets from point A to point website?
Speed is paramount in our business. Like to understand, like when a new project drops, it's a race to get like the first email blast out because we know we're against 10 other people that are going to be doing the same thing. It's a race. So we understand how important speed is. So right now, the best example I have, there was a new launch in Guelph called Argyle Village last week. We got the information in our inbox at 12:37. It was live on the website at 12:44. Wow. And you know what? And I'm a big believer in like marginal gains. Like enough marginal gains here, there, and everywhere all add up. Like 7 minutes is still too long for me. I want to shrink that. Like I need to find ways. To turn. Okay, which piece of the process was the longest here? It was it watermarking? Was it unwatermarking? Was it uploading? Was it this? Where can we shave those
Guys,
seconds?
I'll tell you how crazy we are. I'll tell you. So that's the speed of getting that information. We're absolutely insane in how long it takes for an on action button. How long it takes to change the animation. That's how deep we go.
Like
we were
marginal
talking about
gains.
it the other day. Like,
crap.
okay,
Yeah, we're looking
it
at
shouldn't be
everything.
this long. It should not be, the change of the. It shouldn't take that long.
Let's take a millisecond off of that.
Yeah.
No, but so I do that not just on the marketing front, like even the
It's
administration
across the board.
side, right?
It's across the board. Yeah.
For me, a big pain point in doing resale was marketing. Even if we've got the marketing firing, even if we've got the deals firing, the administration of the paperwork, getting the deals.
Yeah.
Gabby would call me up and be like, "Where are these deals?" I'm like,
I gotta go to my Dropbox. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
So I spent a summer and like refined the hell out of that process. And every single thing that I used to hate doing, like the deal sheets, I turned it from an hour job. I turned it from an hour to 50 minutes to 10 minutes to 3 minutes. Now I can do a deal sheet in 8 seconds.
That's incredible.
So like I do enough, like I do that not just. I'm just using that as an example.
We need to point to where we got the help. We got to point to where we got the help.
That was my younger brother who wrote this.
yeah, we got to.
But we did like I do that about everything. Like and I keep saying like I'm a big believer in these marginal gains. You get marginally better at the tiny things, and then
improves the overall.
Everything just gets better. And I do that, and we're still doing that. Okay,
incredible.
7 minutes. I need to get it to 6. How do I get 5? How do I get 4? And you do that enough times, and everything just gets better. So that's a long way of saying. We want to be as quick as possible.
I remember the question.
Yeah. So
that's incredible. So it goes from what we were talking about is how when a new project launches, how quickly you can get that information to go online.
That's the one.
And I will say this, like as a resale agent and somewhat of a competitor, I don't really compete in the pre-con space, but when I bought my last condo, I went through you guys.
Yeah.
Because one, I know you, but more so, I knew the information was going to be correct, accurate, and you were going to get me the best access.
Yeah.
Because access is really the name of the game. So you cover two things that give you a big competitive advantage. You have the information and you have the speed of getting it out there.
Yeah.
And you secured the unit that I wanted, which is another really hard thing because when a condo launches, maybe there's 50 layouts.
Yeah.
You have to put your name in a lottery system and they'll assign what you get from it. And they were able to secure the exact one I wanted, which was very valuable because you've already committed to a project and then you're told, well, actually the unit you want's gone. Maybe settle for this one. It's a hard sell.
Yeah.
And it's so crucial to have guys that can give you that access because it's literally dollars and cents that we're so focused on here.
Yeah.
And the good thing, before you had this, I had Roy on Instant Messenger, one of those things, and like you would always flip me the floor plans right away. And like I could vouch that speed with these guys is like, yeah, you get it in seconds, which is incredible.
we stop everything. If I'm driving and PDFs come out, I'm pulling over to get the information out. Like
That's
speed
what we
is
did.
important.
We
Speed is
did that
important.
last week.
For Argyle Village, I was on the highway. I had to jump off,
Pull over.
make sure the team got it as soon as it came into me, so that
I think it was for Argyle, wasn't it?
It was Argyle, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's insane.
So TalkCondo Pro launched about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Big difference from previous iterations over this one?
So TalkCondo Pro it really unlocks all of our data and it's geared towards the professionals. So anybody,
70% of the data.
and anybody in pre-construction, that goes from condo builders to marketing companies representing the builders to real estate brokerages to real estate agents, whether you're in pre-con or want to be in pre-con, this unlocks so much more information that we've never shown before. Number one, the big thing it does that, again, I think is it unlocks this amazing transparency of price history.
Yes.
And if you're not in pre-construction space, if you don't buy at the right time,
You're leaving thousands on the table.
tens of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
We've got examples of, let me just rewind a little bit. If people don't know how pre-construction condo launch works, it's kind of like a stock IPO. You want to get in on day one, and a builder typically has a number of units they want to sell on day one. Once they hit that threshold, they're going to jack up the prices. And that jack up prices could be as little as $5,000 a unit. It could be as high as $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a unit in days.
Yeah.
So when you're buying and you don't know if you're day one, day two, day three, day four, you have no idea, it can really, really change the dynamics of that investment. So now we now display all that information in sort of real time. As soon as the project price gets updated, you can see day one price was 600,000. And we've added this new verified day one tag, which is a big deal for us because I think knowing what I know and how pricing activity works on a new launch, if we can say you're buying this at a day one price, it's really, really important.
Big value.
And then as soon as we see a price jump, that day one price disappears. And now you can see it went up by 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. So having that information for real estate agents who may not know pre-con day in, day out, and being able to take this back to your client and sharing that information with them is really, really important. So now we've unlocked price history. And that's not just for a brand new launch. It's for launches 10 years old.
Right.
You can see what a project in 2015 launched for, and every single price per square foot increase along the way until it's sold out. And individual floor plans as well. So we're tracking every single floor plan in the building as well, what it launched at, what it was last week, what it is this week. So a ton of data goes into that. So now as a pro, you get access to all of this information. You also get access to our entire PDF library with tens and tens of thousands of PDFs. You get all the current stuff, you get all the historical stuff, and there's a lot of different use cases for the historical PDFs. The assignment market is a big use case right now for historical PDFs, historical information, knowing when an assignment deal comes to you, where did they buy it in the launch cycle? Where is it? Was it day one? Was it day 5? And having all this information at your fingertips is huge.
Yeah.
For builders, researching, you're buying a site at Yonge and Eglinton, within seconds you can find the 10 projects nearby, know what they launched for, know what they're currently selling for, all the information, again, that if you're collecting information on 10 projects, that before took you days and days and days and days and days.
And would not necessarily be accurate. You're still hoping
Correct.
that you have the right information
And gaps,
together.
and there's going to be
Big
gaps,
yeah.
big gaps, because if you call today and say, I need the information for this project at Yonge and Egg, you're going to get today's information.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not getting last week's and the week before. You don't have the context of the entire site. So to be able to research, I think the tools there are, again, I think best in class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's compared to the MLS that we use.
Yeah.
We can't go back and see that historical data, or the general public, I should say, can't go back and see that historical data. They have to reach out to a realtor. We have to do our digging and get to them. On your website, you can go to any site, and I've done it, and see the exact price of when it launched in the different phases. The other thing that I think is so brilliant what you guys do is every floor plan comes with a graph of its performance and how well it's done.
Yeah.
We track each unit.
Each single floor
Each
plan
floor
in the
plan,
building.
yeah.
So your downtown condos with 60 stories, imagine being able to go in to see how one unit performed versus the other. And as an investor, you can now make a more informed decision by saying, well, these ones that face this exposure seem to be doing better than the other side.
Yep.
Right.
Nobody's doing that.
You can get even more minute with the details. Like the stuff that I think is really cool. One of the first data points that I look at when I go into a project page is the price per square foot of studios relative to the 3 bedrooms.
Yeah, the delta.
So when you got a building average of 1,400, what a lot of builders do is they'll crank the prices up for the studios because it's cheaper. So it may be $1,700 for a studio and drop it all the way down for a 3-bed to $1,100.
Yeah.
And you've all of a sudden got this $1,400 average, but your delta between the small and the big stuff is $600. It's huge. It's massive. So again, when you're sitting with a client and saying, look, in this building, yes, the end price on this one may look attractive, but the deals are actually over here. Because for me, that's a really, really important data point to look at. Some builders are really aggressive on that delta. Some builders are not so aggressive on that delta. And that really completely changes which units you want to look at in that building.
The other one that we need to talk about is it's something you spoke about earlier about the map. One of the big things that we do that we haven't really seen out there is, so you're able to search the projects, but you're actually also able to look at the units on the map as well and drill it down and change the parameters that are displayed, not just from a price range, but a PSF. So you can actually change the filters, occupancy, deposit, number of bedrooms. So let's say if you have a client that's looking for a studio in a particular neighborhood and they want to know specifics, you can actually see the actual units that are available, not just the projects, but the actual units. Yeah. So,
which is not available in anywhere else.
No.
This is the big point that I don't think people understand. Once you start diving into it, there's no other. You could have never received that information prior to this product through Talk Condo launching.
Yeah.
Which makes everyone's lives better. And I think if we're going to take investing in real estate serious, a website like this is a tool everybody needs to use.
Yes.
To like
I agree.
Truly, I'm glad. I'm glad we convinced you on that point. No, but you can't call yourself an investor and just be like, oh, this project's pretty, I'm going to pick it.
I'm going to also add here.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, if you are a realtor and are only focusing on resale, I think this is very powerful because Toronto MLS shows you the current. It's the present. Whereas something like this tool shows you the future. I know we used to get this a question many, many years ago is, what's happening there? Is that what project is this? How tall is it going to be? Oh, my view's going to be blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
This tells
There was
you
never a site to show you that.
Yeah, there was
This now
nothing
has
like
that.
that. Yeah. I mean, it's hidden. It's out there, but it's just so hidden.
Yeah.
That information is very, very, very hard to understand as well. Whereas, this is...
Yeah, and something we should add about pre-con is when you're buying a pre-con project, you're to some degree paying for future values.
Right.
The developer is kind of saying, this is where we think it's going to be in 4 or 5 years. So you brought up a good point that I think we should be using for resale is when you're buying a resale condo, you can show that, this developer in their market research has indicated prices will probably be
Very
in
true.
and around this point in 5 years. We can never go to a website to get that information. before.
9%. Yeah, that's very true.
So it's definitely helpful.
Yeah.
Because it's based on replacement cost,
Right.
right? And future costs, future replacement costs. So you're right.
You can go to the site and now see this.
It'll give you a good
Our
gauge.
MLS doesn't.
It
There's a lot of
tells you a lot. You can use that data in MLS to see historical appreciation figures, but how do you determine future? That's it's
Yeah.
right.
It's a bit of a crystal ball, but at least we have a whole.
Pre-con is a guide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not perfect, but
Yeah.
it definitely gives you an indication of the direction that several developers.
There's an interesting one. I don't know if I can't remember what the project is, but King Toronto.
Okay.
There's that resale building. Was it up the road, down the road? I can't remember. It's that the small mid-rise with like reddish.
Fashion house.
What, is it
Is it
fashion?
fashion?
I can't remember which one it was. But all of a sudden, I remember some people telling me that we've seen a surge of activity on that building because of King. And King at that time broke norms. Because
On the pricing.
it was a hefty price tag at that point.
So you're saying the resale shot up
Yeah.
after they saw the prices that people were paying in the pre-con world.
It was an interesting one. I've never personally really digged into it.
Yeah.
But that was just one that was that's really interesting. That's a very interesting data point.
Yeah.
To further potentially analyze for folks that are doing resale.
Yeah. So do you guys have a favorite project ever that's launched?
Mine is MONDE.
Okay.
Yeah, Monde's.
Good choice.
I really like MONDE.
For the architectural component of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Location. I love the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah. Architecture is awesome.
I can't look past DNA.
DNA.
Yeah.
is
DNA,
your
yeah.
it's
of
the
course,
one.
yeah.
It's
That
the
was
one.
the,
Like,
that was the
yeah.
home run. Yeah.
It's funny. So I got one of my other favorite ones was a project called Peter Street Condo. So it was 101 Peter.
Yeah.
And I remember that they had like a little developer center call. It was his first building. I got really close with Shamaz back then, and they had a sales office. It was basically a shack. And I used to take people out onto Adelaide because I was selling. I loved the view into the financial district. I used to take them out and say, if you buy this, this is going to be the view. You're going to see all the Shangri-La, all the financial district. And then years later, I had a painting commissioned for my living room. Stood in that spot with the Starbucks.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
It's as if I'm stood in the middle of Adelaide, looking this way, and I did that every single day for like 3 weeks. This is going to be and then that's the painting we got.
That's so special.
Love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So that one, I like that one a lot as well.
Yeah, and like the way they're launching projects now, are they still doing big like sales center events, or what's the environment like now to launching a project?
It's different. Compared to back then, or compared to sort of like the last 5 years.
Last 5 years, how's it changed? Yeah.
Well, in the last 5 years, obviously demand has shifted everything.
Yeah.
So the demand for new launches is softer today than it was 5 years ago.
Right.
So now we're back to sales offices.
Okay.
We're building more sales offices. We're building more. We're seeing scale models again and sample finishes.
Yeah, the kitchens.
Kitchens.
And,
We're seeing more of that again.
Yeah.
We are now seeing these big agent events again, and it's really about a lot of it shifted now to social. They want to get the social shares, so getting all the people out and showing the busy sales offices. It's still happening, but it's the allocation process is completely different today than it was 5 years ago. It is just a different environment in terms of the velocity of sales.
So, and what is it like now? How does like the allocation process work?
It's going to be one-to-one. It's going to be one-to-one now. So it's traditionally, I mean, in the hot markets, before a project launched, we may just have 10 buyers ready to go.
Yeah.
We don't even know. We know who the builder is. We know who the location is. We know approximate price per square foot. We don't have the specific details, but we may just have 10 buyers ready to go. The builders are then allocating based on the buyers that we are telling them that we have. So before a project even launches, we may get 5, 6, 7, 8 units for the building, and then from those 10, like you were saying, you can get the units I wanted. We may have 10 buyers, we get 5 units, and then we've got to figure out okay which buyers go in.
How do we match?
So that was the old way. That was the hot market way. Now it's going to be okay. I've got a buyer. Here's a bank draft. Here's a worksheet. This is the unit that he wants, and they're more allocating sort of one-to-one.
Okay. So it's getting a little bit. Your chances of getting the unit you want are improving in this market.
Yeah. That's not like there's still hot projects.
Sure.
And going back 12 months, there's been not very many of 60 launches. I think there were 7 or 8 where it was still the old way. It was everyone's fighting for units. Everyone wants what they, and everyone's oversubscribed. There was a launch actually even last month that did really, really, really well in Richmond Hill, Green Park project. But it's less of them, but for the most part, it's much more one-to-one.
Interesting. So, are there projects that you guys are particularly excited about in the next, like in the upcoming little bit? Are you keeping an eye on?
Probably one big one.
I mean, we haven't sold downtown because of the price per square foot getting so high.
Yeah.
The buyer pool for those is different today than it was 5 years ago. Freed's building at the old Croc.
Yep.
I think
Hotel and residence.
I think it's an amazing. I think it's going to be an amazing building. The architect is the same architect who did the Burj, Central Park Tower in New York. They're really building something amazing there. It's a stunning building. The hotel is going to be amazing. I like Freed buildings. I think their resorts are amazing as well. I've been to his golf course in Muskoka. I love it. I think it's an amazing resort.
Did you break 100?
Yeah, I did actually.
Oh, okay.
The first day, yes. The second day, no.
Yeah. That's a hard course.
It is a tough course. It is a tough course. But they do amazing stuff. So I think that building's going to be, that one's launching this week.
Okay.
There's the demand.
The Brightwater stuff is really cool too.
Yeah, love Bright. I mean,
Port Credit's
Credit's got amazing stuff going on.
Yeah, because it's just like when we started, every weekend there was another project launching in the city.
Yeah.
Now there's few and far between. Maybe you get like a handful a year that launch.
Yeah.
So the Freed one is quite exciting because we haven't seen it, and it's in such a good location. It's in Toronto, as core as you can get. That's launching. How tall is it? Do you know?
63, I want to say. On the top floor. So the top floor is actually really cool. The entire top floor is kind of like a triangle.
Yeah.
On the top point of the triangle it goes as high as 7 stories, and then it comes back down, and that's going to be a top floor bar and restaurant.
Nice.
And it's going to be all glass, all amazing. Like it's,
that's going to be really cool.
It's going to be it's wicked.
Love that.
What's it like working with brothers?
Actually. I mean, I wish we had more interesting stuff to say here, but it's
this part is really boring.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Boring's
No,
good.
I mean, what we found very quickly is I know what I'm not good at.
Yeah.
He knows what he's not good at.
Yeah.
Those intersect really well. And if we were both good at one thing, then not good at another, we just fill the gaps in nicely.
And whatever you can't do, Raj steps in and
Yeah.
fixes. Yeah. No, I think it's interesting because like you look at business partners and there's a plethora of things that can happen with it. And with brothers, that risk is even more elevated. But from day one, I feel like you guys have been incredibly fair with how you have assigned your responsibilities. Like I've always admired that about you guys, and like for brothers, you guys are like
1,000,000%. Even the way you guys are communicating through this podcast. If I was sitting here with my sister, there would be fists at some point.
yeah, I would have walked out. No, you guys have a really good dynamic that's super unique. And I didn't know that whole wide-reaching arm of the story where it's like from day one you had this concept of having a business as kids.
Yeah.
That's somewhat morphed into what you have today.
Yeah.
And you want to get into tech space, you got it.
Yeah.
You went to school for marketing. You kind of are you're crushing it in the marketing game for pre-con. So it's like you're living all these things that you kind of had as kids. That's like super unique and rare. Like not a lot of people as kids want to get into real estate, and I'm sure no kid wanted to get to pre-con selling.
I didn't even know pre-con selling was.
It wasn't a thing, right?
Yeah.
Selling on a trailer in some subdivision. So it's pretty wild that you guys have done that.
Yeah.
And then, can you talk about this restaurant? Because we're big foodies here.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't anything interesting. So when we first moved to Canada in 2001, one of the requirements was, I can't remember what the exact program was, but one of the requirements was that within 2 years he had to open a business and employ a certain number of people. That was like the requirement of moving to Canada.
Entrepreneurial.
It was called the entrepreneurial program or whatever it was. My dad has, like I said, he has almost no book smarts. He had to drop out of school at a very young age.
Love it.
And he's just done everything sort of on the go. And
Figured it out.
my dad
Labor stuff.
knows nothing about food, but he went. I have no idea how he ended up making a restaurant, but he ended up buying a select sandwich franchise. He ran that for a few years to sort of check the box of
Entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
And as soon as he checked that box, he sold the select, and then he made
his own.
Did his own. It was the name of the company was called the Sandwich Company.
I like that. That's very descriptive.
And he did that, and the main business was catering.
Okay.
So office catering. So he had a shop. The shop basically paid rent, but the real business was office catering. So it was nothing fancy, but sandwiches and some hot
salads and foods and whatever. Yeah.
But really geared towards those office meetings of 10 people, 15 people, 100 people, school events and that sort of stuff. And
Does he still have it?
no, he sold it.
No.
My dad retired in, was it 2013,
14? I don't know, something like that.
As soon as it basically...
The whole idea, and this isn't really answering your question.
It's okay.
but there was a period of time where it was sandwich company was almost like a virtual company.
Okay.
And so I told my dad, look, you don't want to be doing this forever. We need a physical location, right? And that's the business, right? You've got this digital arm, but you need a physical arm. We need to combine the two. So luckily, I have no idea how we ended up, but I kept pestering my dad to go visit that place. And so we ended up buying this place for very cheap, 30,000, something like that.
The business.
The physical location. It was a running active restaurant.
Basically,
it was a flailing restaurant.
Yeah.
It was nothing.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
It was basically, before that, it was basically a small kitchen that was just catering. We had no stove.
Yeah.
And then
cloud, whatever they call it, cloud kitchen
Yeah,
or whatever.
kitchen.
Yeah.
Ghost
kitchen.
yeah.
And so we got the physical location. We built that. We built the website. We got everything off the ground. And it was something that is now sellable, because I don't know how we could have eventually sold a virtual catering company. So that was the next aim, and so we did that. He did very well. Yeah. Obviously, 5-6x'd his investment.
Good.
But in terms of favorite foods,
Oh,
from that restaurant, I really enjoyed the chicken curries my mum used to make.
Yeah.
Okay.
But today, now I really like Greek food. I'm working out, and I think like post-workout meals, I think Greek is a really, really solid choice. So I really like chicken souvlaki. There's a place called, I can't remember what it's called because I always select the one on Uber. Is it called souvlaki? It's in Midtown. Okay. Eglinton and...
Souvlaki.
Souvlaki,
I think it might be.
Is it called souvlaki?
Yes, it's something very simple like that.
Yeah. So there, and then the pizza place we really love is what is it? Brooklyn something.
North of Brooklyn.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Oh,
You have a wild, what would you call that place? Flaming stove.
Oh, flaming stove for the
What's it? Not a shawarma, falafel. Not a falafel.
the shawarma.
It's a shawarma
Yeah.
shawarma place.
So good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's our
But
go-to.
the Midtown area is really cool for some good food places. Yeah, I really like our area. It's a bit light when you're closer to Davisville, but
Right.
north of Davisville, it's really good.
A lot of options. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And Roy, where's your?
I'm not a big foodie. When I'm big into my comfort foods, like give me good chicken wings and a grilled cheese over a steak any day of the week.
Yeah.
When I go out, I like the pubs. There's some amazing pubs. Where do you want to go for a bite to eat? My one rule is anywhere with Guinness. As long as they got Guinness
I'm
on tap.
board with you. I like that. Yeah.
Guinness on tap, and I'm happy.
Yeah. It's a nice pub, simple, easy.
Oh, I love there's some amazing Irish pubs around, and I feel it makes me feel a little bit at home. So that's my go-to.
Yeah. Should go for shawarma and Guinness.
And a pint.
Yeah.
Just remember to find it.
Cool. Any questions you got?
No, I think we ran through quite a bit.
So if people want to check this out, so this is open to the public. It's open
Yeah.
to institution.
Yeah.
TalkCondo.com.
TalkCondo.com.
There is a subscription version.
Yep.
Yeah. As Amit
there we
said,
go. Get the hats
lovely, yeah. Is subscription service more for realtors or general public? What
It's
did you say?
very much aimed at the realtors, the
Yeah.
professionals. Talk Condo for professionals is what it is. If you are a member of public, I encourage you to tell your agent to sign up to Talk Condo Pro so that they can help you get the access.
Yeah, but it's a really good start if you are an investor trying to figure out the whole pre-con world before you've even engaged with a realtor. You can start there. And if you find a project you like, you could then reach out to you guys directly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tied to you directly, so you could get them into a lot of all the projects you.
I believe Talk Condo, even on the free level,
Yeah.
is better than everything out there.
I co-sign that.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with
Yeah.
that.
Same here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got everything you need. Talk Condo. You guys are active on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah.
Just search up Talk Condo as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're easy to find.
Any project shout-outs you want to give? No
Uh,
pressure. Every developer in the city is listening, though.
All of them.
Good answer. Guys, thanks for coming on. Thanks for the
thank
questions.
you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
it
much.
was definitely an interesting story. I know you guys well, and I still did not know half of these things that you said, so that's really good. So if you're looking to get into pre-con, talkcondo.com.
That's it.
And then Resale and everything else, call us, please.
Do it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Love it.
Awesome.
All right.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Toronto Living's Real Estate Podcast. You could find more information on how we work over at torontolivings.com. Be sure to sign up for our newsletter to get price reports from over 150 different neighborhoods in the city each and every month.
If you got any value, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And if you made it this far, thanks for listening.